Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo has promised to ensure security agencies work professionally and keep their allegiance to the state, regardless of which government is in power. The president made these remarks when announcing Commissioner of Police David Asante Apeatu as the new acting IGP.
COP David Asante Apeatu was Director of ICT and in charge of the Police Marine Service. He was also Director for Specialized Crime. Announcing his appointment, President Akufo-Addo insisted security personnel must remain professional and owe allegiance to the state.
My interest, the interest of my party, and I believe that is the interest of the people of Ghana, is that we have a police service, and indeed a security service, which is professional. And by that I mean people whose allegiance is to the state and the people of Ghana rather than to governments that come and go. That's my understanding of what a professional security service is about. A service that owes its responsibilities to the state of Ghana and therefore will carry out its duties in enforcing the laws of our country, because essentially that is the task of the police service, to make sure that the laws of our country are upheld, and will do so in a dispassionate, impartial, and professional manner.
Earlier, outgoing IGP John Kudalo was at the Flagstaff House to bid farewell to the president. The outgoing IGP pledged to make his experience available to the state.
To be selfish on my part, I'm still a Ghanaian, a very patriotic citizen, and I'll do everything possible to assist whoever takes over from me. And I know whoever takes over from me, somebody I have very good relations with, because all of my commissioners have very good working relations with me, and I'm ready to tap my knowledge. We shall still continue to policemen, no matter whether we are out of the job. Once a policeman, also a policeman. And once a police chief, must be ready to ensure that my country is always in one piece and not in pieces.
Right, on the line now we do have Dr. Emmanuel Kwesi Ening, who is the head of Department of Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Good evening, sir, and thank you very much for your time. Hello, sir.
Yes. Hello.
The interdiction of Mr. Timbila, when it did happen, there were many who said that it was a good step to cleaning up the police service of its corrupt image. A couple of years down the line, 2 years afterwards, Patrick Timbila has now been sacked. Would you say that is in order, or you'd say it came in a bit too late?
I think it's a bit too late. Look, don't forget that he also has his rights, and keeping it for 2 years on certain quite a long time. I do hope that eventually the report will be made available and it can be studied. But this is one of the issue areas that the new police council, chaired by the vice president, must look at. The grievance procedures and the manner in which those who have infringed on the procedures of the service are dealt with. And I think there are quite a couple of cases, apart from the particular case, that are crying out for justice within the Ghana Police Service.
Thank you. Now, sir, Doc, let's move now to the appointment of COP Asante Apeatu as the acting IGP. I know that you're well versed with operations within the police service and has possibly followed the work of COP Apeatu. Do you think that in the scheme of things, he's the best person to spearhead the police reforms where John Kudalo left it?
Well, I think so. Mr. Kudalo has left a fairly coherent, strong, functional institution with still some structural difficulties that we may come to. Based on Asante Apeatu's domestic and international exposure and experience, I think he comes to this position fairly well equipped, and I think his own vision of trying to contribute to transforming the Ghana Police Service into a 21st century institution capable of delivering services based on best international practices. I think makes him a good candidate. But there are two sides to this story. One is the level of support and leadership and direction that he gets from his officers. The second is the quality of the oversight role that the police council will play in being his sparring partner in pushing through the reform agenda.
Right. So, Doc, when you talk about structural challenges within the police service, let's itemize a few of the structural challenges you're referring to, and moving on, how you expect that the new acting IGP will begin to address these challenges.
Well, one is logistics. Second, communication equipment. Third is the actual numbers. The need to ensure that we come fairly close to the numbers that the UN has identified as being appropriate in our policing. We need to change the mentality of quite a number of the officers who are on the beat. I mean, if you get to say you pass the Winneba Junction at night heading towards Accra, there's the barrier there that is basically become an extortionist barrier. At night, the officers are there threatening passengers, threatening drivers, abusing people. If you go to the barrier before Yamransa, it's no better. So the service has some very good people, but there are some very bad nuts.
As well.
And I think Mr. Asante Apeatu has been given a clean slate on which to draw. And that is because the president has enjoined him to be, apolitical in the way that he functions and in the manner in which the police service delivers, its services to the people of Ghana. And that truly empowers Mr. Asante Apeatu to say, no one is above the law.
Yeah.
If you reach a police barrier with your four-wheel drive, toned windows, flashing lights, you will still be stopped and you will be questioned, even if you are a minister. You see, when the law is applied evenly, as the president has enjoined him to do, then we can share information that ordinary people have with respect to crime. And crime is going to be one of the biggest challenges. The transforming, changing nature of crime that we are seeing. Cybercrime, narcotics, small arms, human trafficking, the youth board, increasing, violent extremism or radicalizing, religion in this country. So his in-trade tomorrow, when he gets into the office, will be fairly full. But I'm hopeful that backed by, his staff, and then hopefully a very sophisticated police council, Mr. Asante Apeatu will be able to get the job done.
Doc, my final question. The president mentioned that he will ensure that the security agencies work professionally and maintain their allegiance to the state, regardless of which political party is in power. This brings to mind a very serious image problem within the security agencies across the country, not only the police service. Do you think by raising this concern and the determination to say that he will ensure that police security agencies personnel work professionally and do not align themselves to particular political dispensations is a good starting point?
Well, one is the rhetoric of the president saying this. The second is the president's ability to get politicians to leave the security services alone. I don't have a problem with His Excellency the President changing the top of the security agencies. That is his prerogative. That is very good. But we see an excessive politicization of the professional delivery of security services in this country. And that has been going on for the past 25 years or so. undermining the professional competence and sense of confidence by these guys. So if the president is assuring Mr. Asante Apeatu and certainly all the other security chiefs that he will be appointing that they have a support in performing apolitically, then I think we are doing very well.
Right.
Or we will do very well. But that is a tall order, because if you remember, his own party supporters, even in the last 2 months, their behavior leaves a lot to be desired. So the president also has a lot of work to do in pulling his supporters back from the brink and telling them, hands off. These guys are professionals. We've got to give them the space to function. And when we give them the space, they'll be able to function and protect all of us as Ghanaians.
Right. Dr. Ening, we're grateful for your time. Thanks very much. Dr. Kwesi Ening is the head of research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center.